Hi there, this is Alex and Michael from the group, just here with another vlog. This time we're talking about the second part of the editing process. This part mainly consisted of performance shots that we talked about in a previous shot. Previous vlog rather. We left massive spaces in our narrative editing to include performance shots in the video. Doing this editing, obviously, would you say it was harder than narrative? Because we had to obviously, like, none of us pretty much none of us, like, apart from me slightly know how to play the actual instruments we were doing. Obviously Nathan had no problem because he was just singing. He just had to make it, and obviously he's also a singer in real life. He's actually quite good, but he had to make it look like he was really enunciating all the words he was doing, like really putting effort in. Michael knows nothing about playing guitar, but he did. Yeah, but he did a really good job of making it. He had to make it look like he was playing. I think what you did was just watch a video.
Yeah, and I knew where your hands went for the chords, so it looks quite realistic. I think.
Yeah.
Most of that.
And I am a drummer. So I could play the basic beats, but in terms of like knowing the whole song, I was a bit here and there. But like we got through, didn't we? So in editing, like we said, we had to make it look like we were these experts at playing these instruments and were playing this amazing song in the performance section. And so basically, I think we started off with just
right at the start of the song, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah. Well, right at the beginning of the song is the song begins with performance shots. So we had like a shot of the spotlight fading in as that happens, and then it moves into just the breakdown. And I think we began with showing shots of us playing, but not actually our faces.
Yeah.
Because we basically just cut our heads out of the video, or just had it from like a shoulder, just from this shoulder or this shoulder, and then so we had a couple of shots of that for about maybe, I don't know, 5-10 seconds of us playing, and then
showing each band member, isn't it? Basically introducing them to the audience.
Yeah, and then we had 3 shots, one of each of us, just a shot of our face.
Yeah.
Just coming up, just flashing up on screen, and then after that we started showing the faces of us while we were playing, and that was basically the first section of the video, but just for the breakdown before on the the really heavy part before it went into the soft chorus.
Yeah.
Like that.
Verses.
Yeah, that verses, idiot.
Smart.
Before it went to the verses.
But yeah, so basically what we did is we looked through what we'd edited, what we'd filmed, and we had the shots selection panel up, and after doing what you said we've been doing, for the rest of the instrumental, we basically went through it looking for each individual person and the best shots they had for that part. So a lot of our editing was spent basically watching the footage we'd filmed for the right parts of the song. So we'd find like a shot of Alex which we thought looked really good, and we'd put it back to where the intro was, and then we saw a particular like really good like little like a repetition. You know how like you get like the repetitions of like the beat or whatever.
Yeah.
We made sure we got one that looked really good, and then put that one in. And so we kept doing that with their members. Obviously, we kept it really fair between each person, and we kept it varied as well. So with Nathan, we had shots of him headbanging with the microphone next to him. We had like a GoPro shot of Alex doing the drumming.
Yeah.
We had shots of me just strumming the guitar. So we had like quite a different variety of shots as well as variety of the band members, which is important as well because like the audience want to see the whole band, not just one member because they are a group, obviously.
Yeah.
And then from there, then we sort of entered a different section. Because with how our narrative was edited, the first part of the narrative, we edited it so it was like a montage almost, and so that we had narrative shot, then space, then narrative shot, then space. So we'd really broken it up, haven't we?
Yeah.
So literally all we had to do was find the parts that specifically fitted each person, and then find again a really good clip that we hadn't used before for that person in that space. So for example, when it went into the verse, there was a part of just the guitar notes being played, and just that in the gap that we've got for narrative. And so we found one of me doing that, and we got that in and fit it exactly right. Obviously we did the cropping, made sure that the focus was good on each shot and stuff, and that it was the best one of those I'd done in that shot, so that it was exactly the right little clip to put in. And we did that throughout that section, and then we moved on throughout the whole video, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just basically doing that, finding parts of that little section of song that we'd done, like we'd made look quite decent in the performance. So for example, there was the bit just before the solo where Nathan is basically headbanging, isn't he?
Yeah.
Again, that we found we hadn't used that shot before.
Yeah.
And it looked quite good with the beat and like him getting into it. So obviously we've got them playing and we've got the band members getting into it as well. So we thought it would be good to have quite a good balance of that in editing.
Yeah.
So I made sure to do that. Basically, most of it was just selecting the best ones out of what we've done so far.
Yeah, yeah. I would say like it was definitely more or less a divide between verse and chorus for where narrative would be and where performance would be. However, in some parts of the song, where we did actually want to, like, we wouldn't have space to move the narrative forward anywhere else, we did actually have to put narrative in some areas of the chorus. So because the narrative, I would say, like I said, the reason why we put the narrative in with the verses is because the verses are slower and more paced, you know, like rather than the straight up just headbanging madness of the chorus.
For performance film, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely. But so when we did have to put this sort of slower moving, more emotional narrative in where the chorus was just going crazy, what we did to sort of combat the sort of poor link between what was happening on screen and what the song was doing, we actually sort of broke up these narrative shots that we were putting in with performance parts. So like
shot of the car in Nathan's face.
Yeah, the shot of the car. And when he searches through, the bit I'm specifically talking about is the part where he searches through the abandoned house and finds the jacket of his dead brother. And just before that, when he's searching around and when he goes and sits down and then he looks around with, like, probably I'd say every second, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, no, so it would cut back. There'd be like maybe a shot of me drumming, doing a fill. Then it would cut back. He'd look around some more. Then we'd have Nathan going, just singing some of the lyrics. They'd cut back. He'd sit down and look over to where the jacket was. It'd cut back. Michael would be shredding on the guitar. And it cuts back again, and then when it gets to the emotional part, we did actually make it stay with the narrative. For when he grabs the jacket and he's like, you know, this is my dead brother's jacket. I recognise it.
There's a couple of really good shots that we did as well with we think with editing and performance, how we try to link it into the narrative more. So what we sort of noticed, again, we haven't talked about the fact that we put like the cast filter on every shot in the performance, did we?
Oh yeah.
Because we did that.
Cold Steel, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry, Cold Steel. Cast and projection.
Yeah.
Cold Steel. It basically puts more of a sort of a focused lighting and more sort of intense atmospheric performance, like, you know, getting into it like a studio performance, and it really like makes the performance a bit more effective.
Yeah.
Did that for every shot. We put earthquake effect on quite a few shots as well.
I think on
more of a impetus.
Most of them, like
stabilization.
Yeah, we did have some performance parts where there was a slower moving narrative as well, didn't we? Because like when it went into that, like we're saying, when it was in the chorus, when it was fast paced playing, we put like an earthquake effect on that. Like it started at I think 25, but then we were like 25 setting on the earthquake effect, but it was like that. It's a bit too much. So what we did was we set like each one as being about just in the 13 bracket, because that gave it this shake just while you were playing that looked like almost the sound was just looked like the sound was shaking the camera and making it like whereas when we got into the verses we took off that effect and just had Cold Steel, so that it would make it look like it was slower and more paced and spread out. And I think a couple of times.
Talk about the bit where we made the sun and the spotlight.
Yeah, that was what I was actually about to talk about. We had what's it called? The effect when that happens.
Oh, it's a graphical match.
Graphical match, that's the one. We had a graphical match at one point in the video where basically we have some shots of so like I said at the beginning of the song, we have a shot of a spotlight coming from the ceiling, and so at the beginning of that shot, before we actually cut it so it was just the spotlight at the beginning, but before that there's actually a pan up from the drummer, from me, going up to the spotlight as the drummer's just finishing playing. So what we did was at the end of the first chorus, I think the first chorus, we put we basically just had me playing the last bit of the rhythm for the chorus, and then the camera panned up to the spotlight, and at which point the spotlight then faded in to a shot from the narrative where the sun, the actual sun, it was setting, wasn't it? But we made it so it was rising. We just pretended it was rising. Don't tell anyone. But we basically had, so after the protagonist had gone to sleep for the night, we then saw a shot of the sun rising and him walking into it, and we made this graphical match so that the sun was in exactly the same place on the screen as where the spotlight from the previous shot was.
Ages doing that.
Spent ages just cropping it, making it look like it was in the same position.
Between the two ends and the start,
Yeah, but it looks really good at the end, didn't it? And so basically, then the graphical match happens. It goes into a shot of the sun, and then the protagonist walks across the field towards the sun.
I think it's the favourite link and stuff.
Your favourite link in the video.
Basically, when we were trying to edit, there was a lot of times we had to crop like the sides out of each shot as well.
Yeah.
We had to zoom in a lot on
because of the curtains.
Because there was little bits and bobs that were getting in the way that we sort of zoomed in on. We haven't talked about editing the solo yet.
Yes. Oh Jesus, yeah. The solo. I forgot about that. That was
very difficult to do.
Much more difficult than the actual rest of it, because Connor, the guy in our group, the other guy in our group that is actually a guitarist. We got him to play the solo, but even he didn't actually know the solo.
Yeah.
So he was just sort of strumming away, just sort of playing, I mean it kind of maybe sort of resembled it a little, but
a little bit. Basically, had to rescue it pretty much, didn't we?
This made the editing process for the solo a lot harder than what it was for the rest of it, because for the rest of it, I mean, Michael, who hasn't picked up a guitar in his life, could actually make it look like he had picked up a guitar in his life and was actually an expert, because you'd watched a video, you knew where your hands were going on for each note, whereas Connor was just sort of doing his own thing while the solo was playing in the back, while we'd put the solo on for him to play to in the background. So so what we had to do was a lot of speeding up, a lot of cutting away to other people in the band to fill time, to other people just like enjoying the solo in the band.
A lot of tricky editing.
A lot of very tricky editing. Not all of which gave us like 100% results in the end. Like I would say, the solo is the part that looks least believable in the video because
it was always going to, wasn't it? At the end of the day.
yeah, well, there's nothing we can do about it, but it was just like I think the first part is all right because we sort of got it looking.
Yeah, I mean, Ser's talking about earlier. He says that although like obviously they know that it's not like actually Connor or me, it's meant to be me playing it right, because we've edited it in a way that like there's quite a lot of cuts between each part. So when there's a the note goes higher, for example, obviously we have a bit with him doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
making the note go higher.
Yeah. So I think we had to do a lot of cropping to make sure it was decent. We looked through a lot of the shots, so we had a lot of footage from Connor playing.
Yeah.
So we had to look through all of it, and then we basically looked through it all for each little bit, and then looked through all of it for each little bit, and then found the bit we thought was best, and then either sped it up a little bit, or slowed it down a little bit, or zoomed it in a little bit more, or cut away to. Like, there were some bits that we couldn't do. So we had to cut away to another band member, which again is an effect we had to use to sort of make it look a bit more believable and more authentic, which is the whole point of the performance of the video.
Yeah.
But I think from what we had initially, so if you looked at a clip of Connor doing it, and then you look at a clip of the actual music video, and it actually looks quite decent.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of what he's doing with hands, and what we've made.
Yeah, it's because I think quite a lot of the footage we got is sped up to something like 200%, I think, because or at least one of them I know is at 200% speed. That double the speed it was originally at because the solo is so fast, and
Connor's playing it so slow.
Yeah, it was just, but yeah, we made do with what we had, and it ended up looking passable, I would say.
Yeah.
Thanks guys, that was our editing vlog, and I think that's the last one we're going to be doing of those. If we do any more vlogs in the future,
see you then.
See you then.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.